Now joined by Shiao-hui. She's Deputy Director at the China Institute of International Studies. Thank you for joining us. What has been your initial reaction to what you've heard of this speech?
Well, I have to say that in recent years, you may notice that China is trying to play a bigger role in the international arena. Well, we are a major country, so what our foreign minister said at such an event, the UN Assembly General Debate, is not only related to China ourselves, but related to the peace and stability, to the problems in the world. So that is my general impression. And I noticed that Wang Yi expressed several basic principles of China's diplomacy. The first thing may be equality. Has been reaffirmed in many occasions. Well, this point is that all the countries in the world should share equal rights, and no matter the country is big or small. Another thing I need to mention is that China is always emphasizing the diversification of the world. The world is different. There's no standards for all the countries. Well, another thing is that China always insists on peace resolution of the conflicts. This is very important in such a world full of conflicts.
I see. Shiao-hui, was it surprising to you that he asked for the fighting to stop in Sudan and Syria?
Well, I have to say that it's not surprising. China always supports, as I said, political solution, peaceful solution of the problems. So this is consistent with China's basic policies. What we are looking for is to find a peaceful way, a sustainable way to resolve the problems. Instead of using hard forces to use sanctions, we support that people sit down to talk with each other.
When you also talked about the Ebola epidemic and how it's so important that all nations get behind the fight against wiping it out. Why is this so important to China?
Well, in recent years, China noticed that there are increasing conflicts in the world, increasing problems, including the ones in the traditional fields and the ones in the non-traditional fields. And diseases is related to the non-traditional threats to the world. And this has become increasingly important to all the countries in the world. And China believes that since this is an international problem, we don't believe any countries in the world can conquer this problem by its own. So we need to work together. So that is the basic policy thinking of China.
I see. When you look at this speech compared to ones in the past, from what you know of it so far, does it seem like it was more detailed and like he took a stronger stand on certain issues?
Well, I believe that Wang Yi's speech reflects the basic principles or the basic policies of China. What I noticed is that he proposed maybe some new ideas during his speech, not only this speech, but his previous speech in the UN Assembly. That is, China has thought about how to resolve the current problems, and we have some new policy thinkings or ideas. One thing I need to mention is that we focus on the security in cyber, not only the cybersecurity proposed by the United States, but also the cybersecurity for counterterrorism. This is something new this time in Wang Yi's speech. I believe this is a very important problem for the international community to conquer terrorism in the future. Another thing is that we notice the foundation or the roots of terrorism. So we need to look into people's thinkings and try to eliminate the wrong thinkings. That is the way to finally resolve problems that faced by all the people in the world.
Shiao-hui, thank you so much for your time, your insight, your thoughts. We appreciate it live in Beijing.